One thing I can promise you folks is that you can say it in one breath. I promise. Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now, a few years ago, Haverok and I, with the help of our friend AB, you can check their artwork down in the description by the way, conducted our thoughts about what ideal transformations could be utilised for the likes of Goku and Vegeta post-Broly movie, instead of just yet another Super Saiyan form. Have maybe something that is unique to them and plays to their strengths. You know, actually understand the character. You can check out the video up top for more information by the way, and see if these spark joy for your divine minds. Enjoy. Now the main thing that got this video off of the ground in my own divine mind is that Super Dragon Ball Heroes the anime promotional one again, yes, despite the fact I don't watch it anymore, somehow just pulls me back in with how stupid it can be. Gets my attention, certainly. Maybe that's what its intention was. Bandai, you creative geniuses! But this time around, it was to do with the latest power for Vegeta that he got. Well, I say power, it's more like a variant that we will probably not see again outside of the card for the game itself. Do you want to know what the name of it is in case you don't watch it? Okay, you might want to write this down. Okay, here goes. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Evolution Controlled Berserk Vegeta, or SSGSSECB if you want to shorten it. You will want to shorten it. I'll take Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black any day. That way you can actually make it sound grandiose. Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Just rolls off the tongue despite its length. Okay, so why does SSGSSECB or whatever it is bother me? Well, it bothers me for the simple fact that it's getting to the point that the reality is now aping the parodies of yesteryears. Do you remember back in the day when Dragon Ball Z was brand new, relatively speaking, very strange and alien to a lot of people? You didn't understand it, most likely your parents. Again, I recall to my now late father's memories of seeing Perfect Cell powering up and going, "Why is that man in green trousers screaming?" Yeah, that's what we had to put up with in 2003. 2002 even. But people would make fun of Super Saiyan and the fact that people just stand around screaming for hours. Yes, that is part of Dragon Ball Z, but that's become so repetitive and overdone over the years that jokes sort of been tuned out by the majority of people. But now, thanks to Super Dragon Ball Heroes the promotional anime, it's sort of come round full circle. The anime, albeit the promotional anime, is now imitating the satirical bashings of the early 2000s in its own guise, which is sort of official. Instead of Super Saiyan 100 though, you're getting transformations which require you to actually pay attention and memorize the order of the words. And when you're getting to that point in your story, you're either making fun of yourself or you might want to make some life decisions. Or better yet, come up with something new altogether instead of just pasting words onto already potent tongue twisters. Thank goodness Whis came along with Super Saiyan Blue to at least help. Side note by the way, SSGSS is only kept around due to the fact that it was the first thing it was referred to as, so to change it now, for the games, be a little bit too confusing. But I think I'll take my chances, Bandai, I'm good. Since my skills are set around creating brand new things for the likes of Dragon Ball in the form of what ifs, as well as my pal Haverok, I thought I would go about coming up with a new transformation that will come about in Dragon Ball Super or whatever anime or whatever movie comes our way in the fullness of time. Maybe if you're really good and you watch this all the way through the video and subscribe, I might do another video in which we give some new transformations to non-Saiyan characters, you know, give Tenshinhan a little bit of a favour. But let's start our thought experiment by taking a look where Goku and the idea of Dragon Ball transformations are right now. According to the likes of Chapter 72 in Dragon Ball Super's manga, Goku has not only gotten a better understanding about Ultra Instinct, it's actually sort of developed even more. Not only have we now confirmed that the power itself is no longer a straight up transformation, you can peep our video up top for more information about that chestnut, but it can be used in conjunction with other powers too. You want the reliability of regular Super Saiyan, but want the epic defensive ability of Ultra Instinct Sign in some way? No problem. Even in base, Goku can now, sort of, tap into that little buff in some indirect shape or form and get his way around a certain situation. It worked well with his first case study, only falling into Granola's wheelings and dealings when Goku wasn't using that technique, letting his guard down. That seems to be a very common thing for Goku to do in Super these days, isn't it? Why are you bringing this up, Masako? Well, It's all to do with the idea and very real possibility that Ultra Instinct might be the last power-up that Goku would ever need. Since he has only just discovered it, he has a long way to go to get anywhere near the powers and skills of Whis, who is in Ultra Instinct all of the time. Heck, Goku might be continuing this in the afterlife. It may take the rest of his life to even get competent. Our Saiyan at the moment is at the bottom of the food chain for this certain technique, and the only way is up for him. Exciting that may be, but it does mean that he in theory doesn't need a new transformation. He can just plow his efforts into perfecting Ultra Instinct to the point where he can utilize the powers of Mastered Ultra Instinct even, without even having to do anything, not having to fall into it. He would always be in that state of mind. Now surely that's a good thing, right? Something for Goku to focus on, yeah? Well, try telling that to the marketing department of Toei, Bandai, and Shueisha. This to them is the most terrifying thing you can do. No more transformations? No brand new variations of Goku to market to make brand new figures like this? No more newness hype? Say it ain't so! There's only so much you can do with the stuff you have! Dragon Ball has been built on the notion that new transformations and powers will come our way in almost every saga! To not have that would be unthinkable! So while the thought of the Super Saiyan freight train slowing down or even stopping, allowing us to focus on Ultra Instinct's path to perfection is nice, it's not going to be realistic. There needs to be a new transformation for Goku or Vegeta to wield. So let's try and think of something so that it may soothe the furrowed brows of the showrunners and execs. There, chaps. It'll be okay. We got this. Right. So for this, we are going to hark back to the tried and tested means of two things. Son Wukong and, brace yourselves, S-cells. Yes, I know. S-cells aren't exactly popular amongst the fan base. Trust me, I know that from the algo telling me so. If we are going to have to accept that this trope is going to be here for the future of Dragon Ball in some way, let's try and make the most of it. Make it as part of this new transformation. Here's what Toriyama said, by the way, what was needed for your S-cell count to be high, in case you don't know, or you wanted to forget. Having a gentle spirit is the best way to greatly increase one's S-cells, but most Saiyans have trouble with this, which I think is why no Super Saiyans appeared for such a long time, that they became the stuff of legend. However, one can't reach the quantity necessary for becoming a Super Saiyan simply by having a gentle spirit, so a certain amount of battle power is indeed necessary. Looked at it in this light, it's easy to see why becoming a Super Saiyan came easy for Goku. Okay, a gentle spirit and a decent amount of power. So this doesn't have to be given to Goku specifically. Whis is already covering that with Ultra Instinct, so this is where things could get exciting. This power doesn't have to be for Goku. Why don't we make it for the Saiyan hybrids instead? We already know that their spirits are much more gentle than their full-blooded fathers. It's stated by Toriyama that their higher S-cell count is why Gohan, Goten, and Trunks achieved Super Saiyan at a much earlier age, and more easily than their parents had done. They didn't seem to have to go through many arduous tasks, not even Gohan when he first got Super Saiyan. So why don't we roll with that idea? Give these characters some kind of relevancy at last, so we can perhaps have this be some kind of surprise revelation for these Saiyan hybrids to acquire, based on their unusual physiology in relation to full Saiyans, which also may mean that Bulla, if she wanted to train, and Pan, and any other further descendants, including Goku and Vegeta Jr. from GT, give them something too, they could access this power. So what about the real meat of this transformation? What would this be about? Well, why don't we look back to the classic association of Goku with Journey to the West, Son Wukong. Now don't worry, we're not going to be going into a full history lesson or video about this. Again, the algo told me not to. What I will suggest is the idea of Son Wukong's own transformation roster, a total of 72. 72, Masako, really? Yes, viewer, you think Super Saiyan was bad. In the classic book, Son Wukong is offered the chance by his master Subhuti to train in two potential arts. One has 36 transformations, and the other has 72. Naturally, the latter having the bigger number, one Wukong over, he chose that one. That field was referred to as the multitude of earthly fiends, or Dishashu. Earthly fiends, Masako? Isn't that a little counterintuitive? Surely we'd want it to be a force for good, right? Yes, as we know with Yamoshi, there were good-hearted and benevolent Saiyans out there back in the day, just waiting to be found and discovered. or at the very least properly acknowledged by the show's creator. So to make it more benevolent, we want to go and delve into the 36th transformation avenue, the Tiangangshi, or the multitude of the heavenly ladle. All this also linked to the notion of the 108 stars of destiny. This list of the 36 stars right here from Journey to the West, research.com, has a collection of stars and heavenly beings the user can call on to provide power and whatnot. A much more nice way of getting powers, a force for good. So to make this relevant to Dragon Ball, why don't we, instead of having this many characters here, why don't we have this maybe as a means to hark back to the powers and ancient traits of the Saiyans from the days of Yamoshi? This being some sort of connection or bond to the good-hearted monkeys that tried to stop the rise of evil ancient Saiyans like Kumba, despite the fact that they actually lost. So how would we work this? This is where we get our thinking caps on. Okay, so we want to have some kind of connection to Yamoshi. So let's suppose that with Gohan, Goten and Trunks having such high S-cell counts in relation to Goku and Vegeta, we have ourselves a situation that one day, during their training, they receive some strange visions from an unknown figure in their mind. It appears in their dreams too, something of which Goku and even Piccolo have no idea about what it might be. However, when Trunks tells Vegeta about this, he has an idea of who it could be. A legendary Saiyan, known to be a force for good, and supposedly part of a collective of Saiyans of pure heart that banded together to try and put an end to the wicked ways of the people from their past centuries ago, nay, thousands of years ago. Alas though, their power was not enough to stop them, and the Saiyans of today heralded from the more malevolent ilk, much to Vegeta's both pride and now later regret. Him, as we know, not exactly liking the way Saiyans turned out now he has actually had some time to think it over away from there. Vegeta takes a personal interest in this endeavour, and so calls the likes of Gohan, Goten and his son Trunks together to try and find some way of tapping into this power more directly. After many weeks of trying, the visions come by more frequently, and much more to the whims of the users. One day, Goten is able to directly talk with Yamoshi. And while it isn't the true Yamoshi, of course, his physical form perished long ago, the essence of him that manifested itself in all of the Saiyans with high S-cell counts and gentle spirits comes into view, and provides solace and power from within. Yamoshi's essence, in a way, is pleased to have established contact with Saiyans of pure enough heart to be able to experience these happenings, and so provides them with a source of power and deep-seated strength. Something of which that neither Vegeta nor Goku can access no matter how hard they try. Vegeta does accept this though, and in true fashion goes, I have my own avenue of strength to focus on anyway. Harumph! So with training, this new variant of Saiyan power could be granted. Now, I know Yamoshi's Super Saiyan God, it's not Super Saiyan God exactly, nor is it directly as strong. This is more akin to something that a Saiyan could get without the intervention or acquisition of God Ki. So, if you're a regular Saiyan and you have a good enough heart, this is about as strong as you can get. You don't have to worry about Super Saiyan 3. And remember, having a high S-cell count back in the day, that was something of a rarity, if at all existent. With the advent of Saiyan hybrids though, this ushered in hope for Yamoshi's ancient cause. So, with this new link between the past and the present in some corporeal and nebulous manner, we need a name for it. So, given it has something to do with ancient power, way back in time, why don't we call it Primordial Power? Sounds good when you say it, doesn't it? Primordial Power! This power isn't your typical Super Saiyan ability. It's quite simple, actually. In terms of appearance, you keep your typical Saiyan black hair, but you are sparking with red electricity to denote the connection to Yamoshi. Your eyes, though, would change to resemble that of Super Saiyan 4. The golden eyes and maybe a little bit of a red surround around your eyes, but not as much as Super Saiyan 4. It's sort of like Broly's wrathful form in a way, only more controllable and far less like a brick wall for Frieza's own purposes. And by the way, if you think that this was a glitch that Trunks' hair goes black, no. If you don't have black hair, it goes black. So, yeah. How cool is that? So if you remember our idea of the Super Saiyan 5 in the modern age of Dragon Ball, it could resemble that, only without the red fur. Well, by the way, that turned out to be a bit of a red herring. It was just a beefier Super Saiyan 4 and Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Disappointed am I? Yes. Yeah, this is a very subtle tweak though, but it's something that is potent enough to bring your power up to speed. It's sort of like a sleeper power. It's all about focus, benevolent energy, using to help push back the idea of evil. And that's it, really. We don't want to go too deep and philosophical for Dragon Ball, but we feel that this should be enough to satisfy the idea of S-cells, give us some decent backstory, and some meaningful relevance. And the best part? It brings not only Gohan back into something cool if he wants to use it, but gives the boys some cool powers too, that only they and Goten's big brother can get. In theory though, this is actually something Pan can get too. And wouldn't that be cool? I mean, her S-cell count could be the highest of all, thus giving rise to Pan, the legendary Super Saiyan of legend! Again, naturally, this is quite subdued for our notions, but that's okay. We, quite frankly, just want to see Goten and Trunks get some kind of power and transformation that deserves their good nature. Also, give S-cells some kind of viable meaning. But what do you folks think? Do you like the idea of Yamoshi being brought into Saiyans other than Goku? What other transformations would you like to see? Within reason. Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!